There's a lot of talk and a lot of hype going into the 2025 college football season about Penn State and especially their quarterback, Drew Allar. There are people who believe that he is a Heisman Trophy contender, that he is in a tier, and some will argue that he's in a tier in his own as the best returning quarterback in all of college football. And the only question that I have about those thought processes is why? Why is Drew Allar viewed as this almost quarterback in his own tier of success and expectations going into the 2025 season? Because it just doesn't make a ton of sense to me on the surface. If you look at his career stats, he made a jump during his junior season from his sophomore year, where his completion percentage went up a pretty good amount. His quarterback rating grew a pretty good amount. Yards up. Touchdowns relatively flat, one less touchdown. But he also got sacked more and threw more interceptions. And so I don't know that I've seen things from Drew Allar that make me go, hey, this guy is the guy. This guy is the truth. If you, I think, were to close your eyes and say, what does the prototypical quarterback look like? And you say 6'5", 238 pounds, strong right arm. Drew Allar fits those bills, right? He fits the mold of what you would want from a prototypical quarterback. The field general who's going to lead you down the field with the final 2 minutes and the game's on the line. That's the type of guy you envision in your head when you close your eyes and think about the big-time quarterbacks. He's got the size, the arm strength, etc. But he's never proven to be that guy. He's never proven to be the guy who's going to go win you the game. In fact, in 2024, for Penn State, their losses coincided with Drew Allar playing his worst game. They lost to Ohio State. He had a 60% completion percentage, which sounds fine on the surface, except when you point out that that's 12 of 20 for 146 yards, no touchdowns, and an interception. 51% completion percentage against Oregon, 20 of 40, 20 of 39, 3 touchdowns, yes, 2 interceptions. Against Notre Dame, a game they lost by 1 score, just like the Oregon game, just like the Ohio State game. He's 52% completion percentage, 12 of 23, no touchdowns, interception. The reason Penn State didn't play for a national championship last year was because of quarterback play. Drew Allar was not good enough to get them over the hump. In fact, in the final moments of the Orange Bowl, made a really poor decision that handed the game to Notre Dame. So I can't get on board right now. Knowing all of that, I wholly understand that the flip side of that argument could be Penn State doesn't get to the college football playoff semifinals without Drew Allar. I understand that. But in another argument, because I don't think their wide receivers are very good. I don't think their weapons around Drew Allar are all that good. But at some point, you have to elevate those around you if you're going to be this star quarterback who's going to be in a tier of his own going into his senior season. I think that's just part and parcel of playing the position. Fair or unfair, those are the expectations. You have to perform at a certain level and be really good at that level to be viewed as one of the best in the sport. And I haven't seen that from Drew Allar. And I understand the argument is he's only going to get better. Likely, but did Sean Clifford ever get better at Penn State under James Franklin? Because I would argue probably not. Trace McSorley, it sure felt like, stayed pretty much the same as his tenure went on at Penn State. So I think there is some argument to be made of, He's only going to get better. And if he made a big step between his sophomore and junior year, you can expect a big step between his junior year and his senior year. And that's all well and good. But a big step from his junior year to his senior year doesn't put him as quarterback number one in the sport. That Penn State is unquestionably the best team in the country in that room, because I don't think that's the case. I understand that he's got all of the things that you would want in a prototypical great quarterback, but until you do that on the field, it's the same thing when we go through the NFL Combine and the Underwear Olympics, when guys will run a 4.3 40 and, edge rusher who runs a 4.3 40 and bench presses 35 times and does a ridiculous broad jump and vertical. And, oh, my God, he's got so much explosiveness, blah, 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 blah. Does he sack the quarterback? No. Okay, well, that's all I care about, that there are so many people who are willing to look past 4 years of watching this guy play football, and does he do it good? But he might not do it good, but his numbers tell me he should do it good, but he doesn't. And that's my hang up with Drew Allar. He should be fantastic. He's got all of the physical attributes. He's got everything that you would want in a quarterback to be really good, and he hasn't played football real good yet. So I don't understand what would give you the faith to think that that's just going to change on a dime. There have been times and flashes of greatness that he has played really, really well. And there have been times where you're like, man, what are you, like the last drive against Notre Dame, that would make you think, what are you doing? Why aren't you as good as I think you should be? Because time after time after time, it just hasn't clicked yet. And when it hasn't clicked for somebody, I think it's difficult from where I sit to sit here and say, yeah, but all he's got to do are the things that he hasn't done yet. Do you hear yourself? And so I remain apprehensive that Drew Allar can put it all together. Coming out of high school, he was a big time recruit, and there were high expectations for him at Penn State, and he has played relatively well. I don't want to make it sound as if he has been some slack-jawed yokel who has no business playing quarterback at the Power 4 level. It's not that. He has been pretty good, but he has not been good enough to warrant the hype and, frankly, the distinctions that he's already gotten. I just think he's in that camp of the Ryan Mallett, Jake Locker, another Penn State quarterback, Christian Hackenberg, of they look the part, therefore they have to be good. And then you sit down and you watch them play, or you look at the stats after they play and go, oh, that's not real great. It's like looking at Gal Gadot act. She is beautiful, gorgeous. I don't think she could act her way out of a speeding ticket. Sure, you look like the part. Like, you look like you've got the parts to do this. You look like you should be really good at this. But then when we get down to the nitty-gritty, this ain't for you. So I remain hopeful that Drew Allar can put this all together. But I don't know how anybody could go out on the limb and say that he's going to be the best quarterback in college football. He's going to be a Heisman Trophy contender. He's going to be the reason that Penn State's in the college football playoff conversation. I can't get out there on that limb with you. He has been above average. And I think going into 2025, they need him to be really good, borderline great, borderline elite to accomplish the things that they want to accomplish. So I just don't see it. Now, maybe you can help me out in the comments below and tell me what I'm missing. Because when you turn on the tape, like the knock, and I think this is all fair, by the way, the knock of Shedeur Sanders coming out of the NFL draft this year was he's not elite or great at anything. There's not the elite arm talent, not an elite athlete, not an elite decision maker, pretty accurate, etc. Drew Allar is pretty accurate, He's got a really strong arm, and that might be the one thing that's like, okay, this is once he recognizes that he's got an RPG for a right arm, he's going to figure things out. But this ain't baseball. It isn't about how hard you can throw it. It's about decision-making. It's about putting it in windows. It's about doing everything right over and over and over again. And thus far, he hasn't been able to do that. So help me out, Penn State fans. Help me out. Tell me why I should believe that Drew Allar is going to be the quarterback who leads Penn State to the promised land, because thus far, I just haven't seen it. And I don't see how you get to that conclusion. That'll do it for today's episode of the Daily Huddle. I appreciate you making us a part of your day, however it is, wherever it is you're doing so. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. Make sure you're getting all the great college football content we're pumping out. If you're listening on the podcast feed, drop a 5-star review. It goes a long way in helping out the channel. I'll see you tomorrow for another episode of the Daily Huddle.